We were discussing about the causes of poverty in the last video. So, two causes we have already studied. One was a colonial exploitation that was caused by the British government, and the next one is the rapid growth of population. Now, the third cause is the drawback of green revolution. Now, green revolution came in the field of agriculture, and it brought many changes, and a lot of job opportunities were created in the agriculture sector. But the effects of green revolution were limited to some parts of India. The industries both in the public and the private sector did provide jobs, but those jobs were not enough to provide employment to all the unemployed people in our country. And those people who were unable to find proper jobs in the cities, they started working as rickshaw pullers, vendors, or construction workers, laborers, or domestic servants. Now, with very small incomes, these people could not afford good shelters or good houses for living, so they started living in the slum areas on the outskirts of the city and facing the problem of poverty and a lack of education or healthcare facilities, and they were unable to afford a minimum standard life for themselves. So this became the third cause of poverty. Now, coming to the next cause of poverty is the economic inequality. Now, this is one of the major reason for this is the unequal distribution of land and other resources. Though many policies are there, but we have not been able to tackle this issue in proper manner. And major policy initiatives like land reforms, which aimed at redistribution of the lands and other assets in the rural areas, they have not been implemented effectively by most of the state governments, and thus most of the resources of India are owned by a small group of rich people, and inequality between the rich and the poor is one of the major causes of poverty. Now, many other socio-cultural reasons are also there that are responsible for poverty in India. So, in order to fulfill the social obligations like marriages and other ceremonies and other religious functions, people in India, what do? Though they are poor, but they spend a lot of money on such rituals and functions. Now, when they are not having money, but they are spending in the functions, then from where they are getting the money, they are taking that money as a loan from the large farmers or the money lenders or the landowners. So these small farmers need money to buy the other agriculture inputs like seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides. For all these also they need money. So what do for this? They borrow the money. Now small landowners or laborers or workers, they have taken loans from money lenders for unproductive purposes like marriages or any other religious functions, and they are not unable to pay the loans back, so they are in a debt trap. They have taken the loan and now they are in a debt trap. So indebtedness मीन्स किसी से उधारी लेना और उसको वापस नहीं चुका पाना और फिर उसी साइकिल में आगे आगे फंसते जाना. सो द हाई लेवल ऑफ इंडेप्टनेस is both the cause and the effect of poverty that has hardly or very hardly affected our country. So we read about five causes of poverty. First one is the colonial exploitation, second one is the rapid growth of population, third is the drawback of green revolution, fourth is the economic equality, and last one is indebtedness. So these were about the causes of poverty. Now the next topic which we'll go through is anti-poverty measures. Now, removal of property has been one major objective of our Indian development strategy. And the current anti-poverty strategy is based on two features. First is the promotion of economic growth, and the second one is the targeted anti-poverty programs. Both of these are the two major pillars of the poverty alleviation programs. So India's economic growth or economic development is one of the fastest growing in the world. Now, proper economic planning is adopted for achieving quick economic growth, because economic growth will create employment opportunities as well as it will reduce the problem of poverty in India. Now, some data are given here. Over a period of 30 years, like till the 80s, there was the per capita income growth was very little, and it does not help much in the reduction of poverty. But official poverty estimates, which were about 45% in the year like in early 1950s, it remained the same till 80s. But since 80s, India's economic growth has been one of the fastest in the world. The growth rate jumped from about 3.5% in a year, which was in the year 1970s, to around 6% during 90s, 80s and 90s. So the higher growth rate have helped significantly in reduction of poverty. Therefore, it is becoming very clear that there is a strong link between economic growth and poverty reduction. When economically the country will grow, economic growth rate will be high, automatically there will be a reduction in poverty. Economic growth widens opportunities for the people, and it provides the resources needed to invest in human development. So this automatically encourages the people to send their children to schools, and in the hope that when they will send their children to school, they will get something in return, because when they'll grow up, they will get the job and they will get better economic returns by investing in education. However, the poor may not be able to take the direct advantage from the opportunities which are created by the economic growth, but the growth in the agriculture sector is much below expectation, and this has been a direct bearing on poverty, as a large number of people living in villages still they are dependent on agriculture. Now, as the people are dependent on agriculture and they could not be helped much with this promotion of economic growth, so another feature, that is anti-poverty programs, became very important. So there's a need of some targeted, which specially targets the poor people, and some such targeted anti-poverty programs are very important. And still there are many schemes and programs which are run by the our central government, and which are formulated only to affect the poverty directly or indirectly. So we are going to go through some of the important anti-poverty schemes or programs. So now let us go through the different these anti-poverty schemes which are being run by the government. So the first one is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act 2005. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Act 2000. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. So in short, this is known as Manrega. So this Manrega scheme was implemented in the year 2005. And what are the aims of these schemes? So these scheme aims to provide 100 days of employment to every household to ensure their livelihood securities, especially in the rural areas. And it also aims at the development to address the cause of drought, deforestation and other calamities if they are going through. And 1/3 of the proposed jobs have been reserved for women. It will be given to women. The scheme provided employment to around 220 crores person days of employment to 4.7 crore households. and the share of SC, ST and the women persons in the scheme are 23%, 17% and 53% respectively. So recently in the March 2018, the wage rate for unskilled manual workers have been revised, and different measures have been, or different. Now the next scheme is Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana. So this Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana was started in the year 1993, and the aim of this program is to create self-employment opportunities for the educated unemployed, those people who are qualified and who are educated but they are unemployed in the rural areas or in the small towns. So this has helped in setting up small business and industries to those unemployed people who had some basic qualifications. Now the third one is Rural Employment Generation Program. It was launched in the year 1995, and the aim of this program was to create self-employment opportunities, especially in the rural areas and the small town. And a target was set up for creating 25 lakh new jobs for setting up. This target was being set up by this program under the 10th 5-year plan. Now another scheme is Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarozgar Yojana. It was launched in the year 1999, and it aims at bringing the assisted poor families who are living their life below the poverty line. An aim has been set up to bring them above the poverty line by organizing them into self-help groups through a mix of both bank credits and government subsidies. And now another program is Pradhan Mantri Gramoday Yojana, which was launched in the year 2000. It is additional central assistance have been given to states for basic services such as primary health, primary education, rural shelter, rural drinking water and rural electrification. And so this scheme aims at providing all these basic facilities to the people. So all these are the anti-poverty schemes that have been set up in different years, and a continuous help is being given to the poor people through these programs. But the result of these programs are mixed. There are some reasons for the less effectiveness of the program, and the reason is the lack of proper implementation and the lack of right targeting and marking of the people have not been done, and some people who actually need these schemes could not be helped through this. And moreover, there has been a lot of overlapping of schemes. A lot of schemes have been launched all together, and there is a lot of overlapping. So despite good intentions, the benefits of these schemes are not fully reached to the deserving people. Therefore, the major emphasis in the recent years is on proper monitoring of all the poverty alleviation programs. Now all the programs are being monitored properly, so the poor people who really need them could be helped.